Okay, let's start with prayer, and then we'll dive into this new material. Let me pray for us. Father, I pray you help us today. Give us a mind for this material, and give me more ability as a teacher to be clear. I pray for encouragement for us, and at the same time, a challenge to do something difficult, but to do something difficult and to triumph at it. And we pray all this in Christ's name. Amen. So the main thing in chapter 2 to realize is that the Greek language is driven by the case system and not by word order. That's the most important. The most important thing from chapter 1 was to realize that when you walk in the door, you already know about 3,000 Greek words. 1/3 of the English language is Greek. So in learning this case system, we really need to learn this chart. So if you can't just write this chart down and just say it, to say ha, tu, to, ton, hoi, ton, tois, tus, hey, taste, te, te, high tone, tais, tas, ta, tu, to, ta, tone, tois, tu. If you can't say it like that, then you need to work on this chart first. This chart will be the foundation for all other charts. So let's say this together, and we'll say it down. Say it with me. Ha, tu, to, ton, hoi, tone, tois, tus, hey, taste, te, tain, high, tone, tais, tas, ta, tu, to, ta, ta. Notice there's no difference in the way you say those two words. Ta, tone, tois, ta. Now, notice the neuter, accusative, and nominatives are all the same. Notice the accusative plurals are all the same. Notice you have O-class vowels. Notice that the genitive and dative of the masculine is exactly the same as the genitive and dative of the neuter in both singular and plural. The feminine is just the A form. This has an O. This has an A sound. Once you realize that, you kind of get that chart down. So commit that chart to memory. It's 1/3 of all the words in the New Testament belong to that chart. This chart is a development of that chart. So say these endings with me. Has, u, o, on, e. Sorry, I can't get that all on there. Oi, own, ois, oos. Well, now we'll do the feminine. A, ace, a, ain, a. I, own, ice, os, I. On, u, o, on, ah, own, ois, ah. Now, if you have this chart, you're just adding T's in front of all of it to get the, except in the nominative, instead of a tau, you get a rough breathing, both singular and plural. But otherwise, if you have this chart, you have the definite article chart. These two charts are essential. 65% of all the nouns in the Greek Bible belong to this chart. So between those two charts, you probably have 150,000 words that you would know the ending of. Sorry, not 150,000, probably 80,000 words, just those two charts. So how important are those two charts? Like essential, like build your house on a foundation. You know, if you don't memorize these charts, Greek's going to be impossible to read. These two charts are essential. So I would review them every day that you study for Greek. You want to get them in your long-term memory. Adjectives have to agree with the word they modify in gender, number, and case. So if the word is masculine, the adjective has to be masculine. Now we come to lesson 2B. So the B lesson in every chapter, so this is going to be for the quiz on Wednesday. The B chapter will always be vocabulary first. And Dickinson College, which is some kind of elite school, has a great Greek program, and they actually came up with a list of the top 500 words in Greek. And so if you look at all of the Greek language, the most frequent word is the word the, and it has three nominative forms, ha, he, ta. We already know that because we memorized the chart, right? So on the quiz, I'm going to give you this, and I want you to write the, right? The second most frequent thing is altas, alte, and then alta. And what that is how you say he, she, or it. If it's neuter, it's it. If it's feminine, it's she. If it's masculine, it's he. So that's just the pronoun he, she, or it. So I'll give you those three, and you write he, she, or it. You with me? Okay, the next most frequent word is the word kai. You can write and even. I'll give you credit if you can write any of that. De is a little bit trickier because in reality, de is part of a pair. Men de. And the men de construction is usually translated, men is on the one hand, de is on the other. Men de. So if you make a men de argument, on the one hand this is true, on the other hand this is true. So de is more than and, but it's less than but. It's somewhere between and but. And we don't have a word like that in English. So you can do it on the other hand, like you can just always do it on the other hand. You can do it as a mild adversative. You can do it as a little stronger version of the word and. Any and all of those will be a correct answer if you write it on your quiz. I'm not expecting you to write every word just to get one right meaning. You with me? Now we have our first verb. So this is the verb I am. These three forms are extra credit forms, so I'm not expecting you to write those. If you write Amy, I am, you'll get full points. But this word, this is I am, this is I will be, this is I was. We already know that from NRK, Ein Ha Logos, right? From John 1. And Ani is the infinitive. So I am, I will be, I was, to be. All you have to write on the vocab quiz is I am. If you get any of the other of these right, that's extra credit. All right, this is a demonstrative pronoun, hutas, haute, tuta. This is how you say this man, this woman, this thing. You're not writing man because the man is implied by it being masculine. You're not writing woman because the woman is implied. And you're not writing thing because the thing is implied by the neuter. But hutas haute tuta is just the word this. You with me? All right. A is or. Now notice you say, well, I thought we learned that is the. Notice this has the rough breathing. This is the word hey. This is without the rough breathing, the word a. So a means or. In we know from John 1, it takes a dative, it's a preposition. Mende is on the one hand, on the other hand. Tis, T, is someone or anyone. So we're going to see the chart for this later, but just know it means someone or anyone.
I think it said like the same thing a little bit, it also said who and what.
Yeah. Notice, oh yeah, I skipped that. Okay, you say, okay, how can it mean who or what here and someone, anyone here? And I have a mnemonic device for you. Okay? If it's accented on the first syllable, question mark. If it's not accented on the first syllable, no question mark. So if it's accented on the first syllable, it's the interrogative pronoun. Who did this? Tis. If it's not accented on the first syllable, and see this one isn't, then it means someone or anyone. So if it has the accent, think question mark. If it doesn't have the accent on that very first syllable, no question mark, someone, anyone. Which means it's the indefinite pronoun. Has, hey, ha. Notice you've got the rough breathing and an accent. Do you see that? Rough breathing, has, hey, ha. Accents on all three syllables. This is the relative pronoun. My father, who was a very good man, was named Carl, right? That's introduces a relative clause, so this is just the relative pronoun. And notice it's exactly the endings that we've learned for the definite article. So you take the endings for the definite article, put a rough breathing and an accent on it, it makes it the relative pronoun. All right, this is not yap. This is gar, right? And it means for in the sense of a conjunction. You will do well in this class, for you will study hard, right? The for you will study hard is the reason the previous statement is true. Gar appears everywhere in the New Testament. 3 words for not. U is the main one. If the next word begins with a smooth breathing, you write ook. If it's rough breathing, you write ook. But if you remember U is not, that's the important one. So Lego is I say. That's the only one you have to know. This is, whenever you have a verb, you'll get the principal parts. I will say, I said, I have said, I have been said, I was said. Future, aorist, perfect, perfect passive, aorist passive. Don't worry about that. We'll learn what those are. Just learn Lego as I say. It's 15th most common word in the English language. So, every other day we're going to add 15 more words to this, which means you've got to get the chart down, but you've got to get these words down. Don't cram, right? On the final exam, there's going to be 150 words or 200 or however many. You won't be able to memorize that many. So what you have to do is you have to memorize these and then review. The way most people do it is they make note cards and get a ring and put the Greek on the front, the English on the back. Get 2 shoe boxes. The ones you get immediately throw into the known. The ones you don't, just keep reviewing. If you got a break and 2 minutes, go through the things, carry them with you, go through. And then when you get to the test, you'll know it like the back of your hand. But the only way to do that, to get it in your long-term memory, is just keep doing it over and over again. Any language you do, that's how you learn it. And you can always tell when somebody's learning a language, they'll be carrying around flashcards. If you don't want to write your flashcards, they do sell boxes of these on Amazon. You would have to go through and pick out the ones in order, but you can get them that way. I think it would probably be just as quick to make your own, but Minda, we know all this. Okay, so some more stuff about the case system. English is based on word order. So if I say Jim paints the house, Jim is the subject. But if I say the house paints Jim, that's a silly sentence, but now the house is the subject. In Greek, it doesn't matter. You can put house first, Jim first. You can put them both in the middle. It's the one that has the nominative ending that's the subject. It's the one that has the accusative ending that's the object. You can put them in any order you want. It's the ending that determines the grammatical function. All right? When you have the nominative, if you have the sentence, Mr. Smith is president, Mr. Smith is the subject, is your linking verb. Think of it as a grammatical equal sign. President points back to Mr. Smith, and you can think of this line pointing back. Both of these have to be in the nominative case in English. Both of them have to be in the nominative case in Greek. You with me?
Wait, why do they both have to be in the nominative case?
Because subjects are in the nominative and predicate nominatives. So they call this thing a predicate nominative. It points back. So this one's going to be in the nominative too. The is a grammatical equal sign. The genitive is the of the United States. Mr. Smith is president of the United States. In Greek, all you would do to the word United States is change it from os to u. Right? Or plural, change it from oi to own, I guess, since that's technically plural. Mr. Smith is president. Both those are going to be in the nominative. And then of the United States, you'll put in the genitive. So if you want to say of God in Greek, instead of theos, it would be theou. And when you put it in theou, it means of God. Right? You with me? Okay, the dative is the case of the indirect object. It's to or for whom the action is done. In a sentence, Jim paints the house for his brother. In Greek, you wouldn't add this word for. You would just take brother and you would put it in the dative case. Adelpho. Just omega iota subscript, and that makes it for brother, right? You with me? If I'm going too fast, like, just raise your hand, okay? I remember what it was like not knowing and not, so raise your hand and we'll do it. The accusative is whatever receives the action of the verb. If the verb is an action verb, Jim paints the house, the house is the direct object, so you put that in the accusative case. So in this sentence, I love God, what is the subject of that sentence? I'm doing the action. Who receives the action? God. So what case would I be in Greek? Nominative case. And what case would God be in Greek? Accusative. And I could put the word God first, as long as I had on ending, it's still the subject. I could put I last, and as long as I has the nominative ending, it's still the... So it's not the word order, it's the endings that determine the grammatical function in Greek. Right? The vocative is only used a few times. Oh, Mr. President, come this way. Oh, Mr. President would be vocative in Greek because it's a case of direct address. Oh, God, save me. The oh, God part would be in the vocative because it's a the. Okay. Let me introduce you to someone who's going to be your good friend. Professor Rouse. If we were in England and our parents were mega rich, Rouse would be our teacher. He's one of those teachers at an elite, British boys' school, like Hogwarts, only the real version, right? So our parents send us to live at this, we've all got blazers on, and the seal and everything. We're headed to Cambridge. Rouse is our teacher. Rouse may be the best Greek teacher ever. But what Rouse would do, and remember, we wouldn't be college students. We would be in the 4th grade, because that's when they would start us learning Greek. So Rouse would just start talking Greek in his class. He didn't use any English.
What?
And he would ask questions in Greek, and we, the patrician few, would answer those questions in Greek. That's interesting, isn't it? We're going to do the same thing, but a dialed down version, okay? So we're going to actually do this in English. Rouse has told us, okay, 1/3 of the English language is Greek. He's expecting us to guess these words. Now, that seems pretty intense, right? So we're not going to do it that way. I've put a link in the bright space to this book. This is the book he would use. So if we went in his class, the name of this book is A Little Greek Boy at Home. And Rouse is just going to start saying these sentences to us, and he's going to expect us to guess what they mean. Now, in the link in Brightspace, I linked the lexicon so that we can look up the words if we need to. And the lexicon that everybody uses is called Liddell and Scott. And you've ever read Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll? Anybody read that? Okay. Alice of Alice in Wonderland's name is Alice Liddell. And it's her grandfather who wrote the standard Liddell of Liddell. He's the Liddell of Liddell and Scott. The real Alice that Carol wrote, the little girl that he wrote the book, is the granddaughter of the guy who wrote Liddell and Scott. Or he's the Liddell of Liddell and Scott. So I've linked that, and you can just, upper left corner, type in English as nearly you can these words, and it'll pull it up. You know, if you get stuck. But don't look it up until you've made yourself guess. So, we've got 18 minutes. Let's see if we can get any of this together. And remember, Rouse thinks we can guess all these words. Ego, men, Amy, Paidion, Hellenikon. Ego, men, Amy, Paidion. I am, good. I am something Greek. Hellenikon is capitalized, so it is a name. Helen, that's one lambda. I am a Paidion Hellenikon. I am a blank Hellenikon. And is he a big boy or a little boy? Because that's a diminutive, right? Ego men Amy Paidion Hellenikon.
Wait, what does ego mean? Because I know that Amy means I am, but what is ego?
Ego Amy is I am. So what was... Oh, wow, we had that in the vocabulary list. Oh. What does mende mean? And mende is what's called a post-positive, which means you put it here, but you translate it here. De, you put it here, but you translate it here. You put it one step deeper. It's a post-positive. You put it after the word you want to translate it. Right. On the one hand, on the other hand.
So on the one hand, I am a small Greek boy. Oikon, aim, hen, hagros, and tatha.
Well, stop at the punctuation. So, on the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy, de.
So on the other hand,
But on the other hand,
oikon, and hagros.
so how do you say this word?
No, hagros.
Agrois. 1/3 of the English language comes straight from the Greek. Agriculture. So in agrois, that ois ending, that's your dative plural, in takes the dative. So something plural having to do with agriculture. Right, and so this is the word I live.
Oh,
On-
I live on a farm.
I live,
And I live on a farm.
right, or in the field, but I think on the farm is what it means. On the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy. On the other hand, I live in the fields. There, so this is the word there.
There.
Now, is this the word yap? No, and gar is post-positive, so you move it up here to translate it. So on the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy.
For there in the fields.
For there in the fields, notice in fields and in the fields. Georgos. What is a Georgos? Sorry? This is actually where we get the word George from. Well, if his name were George, this would be capitalized, right? Let me guess. It's a 747. For there in the fields is a certain 747. Oh, you're... Sorry? Plane? No. Well, I was being silly. Okay. On the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy. On the other hand, I live in the fields. For there in the fields is
something the something.
tis. What is tis? Okay, does it have the accent on the first? So it's not the question. So something. And why is this capitalized? It's someone's name. Is a certain Thrasylos. His name in Greek means bold plunderer. Is a certain bold plunderer who is a Georgos. A gorge? Okay, you're doing the 1/3. That doesn't really work for me. Certain monster, that's a great guess, but it's not connected to English. Trying to get the G's. Yeah. This comes from two words in Greek, ge, which means earth, and ergos, which means worker. What does georgos mean in Greek? Oh, give me the English word. Farmer. So what does the word George technically mean? Farmer. George Washington was a farmer. I am a little Greek boy. On the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy. A little bitty Greek boy, that's a diminutive. But, on the other hand, I live in the fields. For there in the fields is certain farmer, Thrasylos. I lobbied for Telemachus, the ender of battle. But my kid would have gotten beat up in kindergarten, so. Yeah. Okay. Is a certain farmer Thrasylos. Hos. Oh, that's today's vocabulary. Hos, hey, ha. Okay, that's ha, hey, ta. Who, there is a certain farmer Thrasylos who picked up that it's a verb. I live, ace, who georges, and he echoes a chorion. Sorry? It's a chorion, so do you recognize it's a little bitty something?
Oh, he sings softly?
Okay, so great guesses, but wrong. Okay, great guesses, but wrong. He farms and he has, echo is have, and he has a chorion. So are we stuck? Okay. So we could go to the lexicon, but Rouse doesn't want you to do that. So you ask, tis men ego. Who, on the one hand, who am I? On the other hand, who is Thrasylos? So when Rouse was teaching this class, there's no English going on. He's just saying, ara erotos tis men ego, tis de ha Thrasylos, lego de.
I think children are crying. That's how you learn.
It's you know how some people teach little kids to swim by taking them to a pool and throwing them in the deep end? Have you ever? That's what Rouse did, and I think that is so mean. Like I would,
Did it work though?
but it works. It works. So he does. He has to tell. But like, do you feel how overwhelming this? And remember, we're in 4th grade, and we've got bigger brothers who've gotten A's before. So all of a sudden, we're in this class like Hogwarts, and we're expected to know all this, and it's like we've been thrown in the deep end.
And apparently somehow someone got an A before us.
All I know is that after today, I'm going home and teaching my 5-year-old niece how to read Greek because I'm not letting him go.
The good news is we're going to get where we can start guessing these words. Lego Day, I will surely tell you. You ask, who on the one hand am I and who is Thrasylos? I will surely tell you.
But we still don't know what Thrasylos has.
For I am a teknon of Thrasylu. I am. Do you know when Caesar got stabbed and he's dying and he wanted to show off that he knew Greek instead of, he says, Kai su teknon, and you, my child, even you, my child.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Thrasylos has a small child.
Child. So Thrasylos is my dad, right?
That's a long-winded way of saying Thrasylos is
For child am I of Thrasylos.
Why couldn't you just say Thrasylos is my dad? It's not hard. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah. And surely, no, this isn't men. This is main. We get amen, lego, human. Indeed, and that's it. And indeed, others, to be sure, he has children, the Thrasylos. Now, notice he's not giving it in English order because he wants you to divorce yourself from the idea that order determines grammatical function. This has to be the subject. Thrasylos, and he's going to keep giving you the words you've learned. Thrasylos has other children, surely. Good. You're starting to think like Achilles. You're going to say, I'm going to conquer. Okay, this.
Have you read It's All Feelings?
I have not.
It's a new book or newer, and it's about Perseus, whatever that was with Achilles.
Oh, yeah.
They were training. It is like for anyone who doesn't like reading or basic Greek mythology, but it's
That's exactly what we're going to be
Oh,
doing.
I'm in love.
and I am his son,
I am his son.
and have Adelphon take and Adelphe. Doesn't Adelphe?
I something. Bro. Thank you, Rouse. Thank you, Rouse.
Guys, we're doing it. Oh my god.
Right? You see, we could have started looking at words we didn't know, but
Yeah, but you're like built-in lexicon.
I'm helping. I'm the tutor who's in the 5th grade, and I'm helping you, right?
WHD Rouse is like, I brought in a 5th grade student. Dr. Rudd in a full suit just walks.
So, for I am his son, and I have a brother and a female brother. You see that? A masculine brother.
Hey, yo,
Oh, a brother and a sister, right?
Female altered
And they call me Bold Battler, Thrasymachos.
that's my kid's name.
And the brother they name Bold Mouth. And the sister they name, of course, they have to name the sister Helen. And we are the Tekna Tu Throsalou,
the children of Throsalos.
and we are even the Tek also, and we also are the Tekna.
Urit.
So they got two fathers?
Gotta be honest, I'm drowning here.
They're the children of Urit.
It's the mom, and how do you know it's the mom?
It's the female.
It's the female ending. Now, if you're drowning, I totally get it. The great news is we're going to conquer, and it's going to click. So Rouse has been a genius again because he helped us feel our need for help. That's why you want to study this in a group. And when you do the homework, you're trying to get where you can read all of this. On the one hand, I'm a child of Thros. On the one hand, I'm a little Greek boy. On the other hand, I live in the fields. There in the fields is a certain farmer, Throsalos, who farms and has a chorion. We still don't know what a chorion is, so just put chorion. A little something. We have a little something. So you ask, who am I and who is Throsalos? I'll surely tell you. For I am the child of Throsalos, and indeed he has other children, Throsalos does. For even I am his son, and I have a brother and a sister, and they name me. I wonder where we got the word me from. We got it from Greek. They name me Bold Battler, and my brother they made name Bold Talker, and my sister, of course, they named Helen. And we are the children of Throsalos, and we are also children of Eurydice. So that's what we need to master by Wednesday. So do it in groups. And here's the hardest thing to get over. C.S. Lewis has a great essay called The Great Knock. And he talks about feeling just like we're feeling right now. When he went to study Homeric Greek, guy would read 100 lines, he was dying. But the guy told him, he said, don't shoot for perfection. Shoot to get this 80% right. And so you're trying to get 80% in speed. That's what we're after, 80% in speed. So if you don't know what main is, skip it. If you don't know what entalthe is, skip it. But you're trying to get where you know most of what it is. And this is the first step to what's called volume reading. Rouse was a master at getting people to where they could volume read. So yes, we feel like we're drowning. The adrenaline and panic that produces is going to motivate us to flail our arms, and we're going to eventually swim to the side. So enjoy the panic because it's going to get us to the place where we're going to read. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on Wednesday.